if you're starting over at 60, the first thing you need to do is make peace with the past. Now, you probably didn't want to get a new job at this point in your life. You didn't want to be in this position where you might have to start a whole new career at this point in your life, but it's something that you can do, and you have to look back at what you've accomplished. Just because you weren't able to make it all the way to the finish line with this job doesn't mean that you were a failure. Sometimes your job or your boss has failed you. Sometimes your profession has failed you. Just think, at some point there were people who said, you know what? I can't be a milkman anymore. I can't be a cobbler anymore. I can't be a cooper anymore. That's someone who makes barrels. Sometimes jobs fade away or end very abruptly. I can't make typewriters anymore. You have to be able to move on because the world moves on. And you don't have to do the same job for your entire career. And you're not a failure if you don't make it all the way to retirement. I know that's not what you thought. I know that's not what you were planning and hoping for, but it doesn't mean you're a failure. So look back on what you accomplished. Maybe you won some awards. Maybe you became a manager or even a vice president. I am in some groups with people who are fellow job seekers like me, and I was a manager at this place, I was a vice president at this place, and I'm looking for that same kind of job. Well, that same high level job might not exist anymore. You might need to take a step down, or like I said, you may have to start over. You might have to do something completely different. So for me, like I said in the previous video, I was a newspaper editor at some point. Last year, just about 5 or 6 months ago, I finally felt like I got to I wouldn't say the pinnacle of my profession, but I got to the goal of where I wanted to be at this point in my life, editing a newspaper. I got to interview a best-selling author, Emma Willis, the wife of Bruce Willis. I got to ask a question to the vice president of the United States in a press conference. So now that has completely gone away, does that mean that my time as a journalist was a failure? No. It didn't last all the way to retirement, but it wasn't a failure. So look back at your accomplishments, make peace with it, say, I did this, I accomplished this, I'm going to move on and do something else.